Hi, so in this video we'll talk about sprouts because we hear all the time that sprouts are a superfood, so rich in nutrients, in vitamins, in minerals. So I wanted to find out today if it's true, because most people who talk about sprouts, they don't talk about the sources that allows them to tell us that it's so great. So what are their sources? Why do they say it's so great? I wanted to see if there are studies about sprouts, what they say, and I wanted to find out if it's as good as we have been told. To make this video, I used these studies. I will put the link of these studies under the video in the description box. So, the first question I asked myself when I made this video was, do sprouts have more nutrients than seeds, than regular seeds that are not sprouted? So everything you will see in this video, all the quotes I have put in all the slides are extracts from the different studies that I listed right before. So here in the first study here, they say that barley and maize sprouts have greater nutrients than their grains form. So it answers this question to yes. Another study says sprouting grains enhanced the activation of hydrolytic enzymes. So again here we have kind of a yes, because if you have an activation of enzymes, it means that the nutrients will be more bioavailable when we eat them. This third one says that the younger the sprout, the greater its nutrient weight. Thus, it would appear that day 1 sprouts are nutritionally superior to day 4 sprouts. Basically, here it says that it actually depends what sprouts we are talking about. Is it a young sprout? That is to say, day 1 sprout, as I say, or is it an older sprout, day 4 or more? The older the sprout, the less nutrients it will have, because the plant uses all the nutrients from the seed to develop. So of course, the closer we are to the seed, the more nutrients. In this one here, it says that sprouted barley has increasing crude protein, crude fiber, ash, minerals, and vitamin contents, and sprouting decreases the level of phytic acid in seeds. So here again, yes, more minerals, and especially more bioavailable minerals and nutrients, other nutrients, because sprouting decreases the level of phytic acid, and phytic acid binds to minerals and make them less bioavailable. And here it says that sprouting include many changes, as in seed protein converted to essential amino acid, carbohydrates are transformed into sugar, and fats are altered to essential fatty acids. So basically, that's the most important thing we need to know about sprouts. They actually, we will see all the details in this video, but the most important part to understand is that it's because of their enzymatic activity that at the end you will get more nutrients from the sprouts compared to the seeds, because of the enzymes that make all the nutrients more bioavailable. So I will now see in details. So we talked about nutrients, general nutrients, but now we will talk about each detail. What nutrients? What are we talking about, especially when we talk about nutrients? So here, do sprouts have more energy than seeds? In this study here, they say basically that there is a decrease of metabolizable energy of the sprouts with increased sprouting time. That's because of what I just said. It's normal that you have more energy in the seed rather than in a germ, rather than in the sprout, because the plant will use that energy to develop. Okay. Here they tested weight gain for pigs, and they found out that whole barley is less efficient compared to sprouted barley, and sprouted barley is less efficient compared to ground barley. Here in this study, it was a study on goats fed their basal diet plus sprouted grains, and the ones that were fed sprouted grains gained more weight than the other ones that were fed only their basal diet or less sprouted grains. So it means that there's more energy, in the diet with the sprouted grains, either because there's more energy in those sprouts, either because the sprouts make the nutrients of the basal diet more bioavailable, and the energy in that diet also in that basal diet more bioavailable, and therefore they can extract more energy, more nutrients, and then they gain weight. Here, sorry, I forgot to translate back to English, but here it says that in this study, energy in the seeds, in the sprouts, diminished markedly during germination, during sprouting. And here it says that sprouting reduced the dry matter and starch content. So basically, here what we learn is that no, there's not more energy in sprouts compared than in seeds, except if we look at the final result once it's metabolized, used in our body, thanks to the enzymes that make all the nutrients more bioavailable. In the end, you can have more energy with sprouts if they are eaten together with another meal. We will detail that again in other slides in just a few seconds. So now, vitamins. Do sprouts have more vitamins than seeds? Here, in those studies, it says that there's more vitamin E in sprouts rather than in seeds. There's more B vitamins, and there's basically more vitamins. Here's 3 different studies that say there's more vitamins in sprouts. But here, so sorry, it's in French, but I will explain. So here I used different databases. One French database that is called SICAL, and I also use chronometer to find out the different nutrients in seeds and sprouts. So here I wanted to find out about B vitamins in alfalfa sprouts or alfalfa seeds. Okay, so here in blue is the seeds, and in green it's the sprouts. So obviously we see that there's much more B vitamins in the seeds compared to the sprouts. And it actually says the opposite to what we just saw here. In this study, it says that there's more B vitamins in the sprouts. So why? The first thing I want to say about that is that basically, whatever you look for in studies, you will always find a study that says one thing and another study that says the opposite thing. That's why I never only rely on studies to try to find the truth. As I say in many other videos, I use mainly 4 things to try to find the truth. Studies, yes, but not only, because, as I just said, you can find one that says black, one that says white, and then in the end, you don't learn anything, because they just they are so contradictory. So I use studies, yes, but not only. I use also the wisdom of our ancestors. That's why I talk very often about Weston A. Price and his book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. So I use the experience of our ancestors who knew much more than us regarding health and nutrition. If you are not convinced about that, please go read that book. I also use my own experience and the experience of people around me and the experience of my clients, because you can find studies saying something, and if in reality, in your experience, it's something totally different, in my opinion, it's your experience that is the truth rather than the studies. Okay, so that's why, in my opinion, relying on experience is very important. And the 4th one is common sense. I use common sense to make sense between all these different sources. So anyway, so here we have one thing, so more B vitamins in the seeds compared to the sprouts, and here it says the opposite. So using these 4 things, if I use my knowledge about vitamins, I know that there's basically more B vitamins in seeds compared to, adult, like developed vegetables. That's something that is known. And actually, vitamin B1 was found in rice, that is a seed. Okay, so it was found in rice in the beginning of the 20th century. And yeah, so we know that there's more vitamin B in seeds compared to sprouts. So I think this is more right here in this graph compared to what we find in this study. But maybe the study is correct also, because it depends at what point in the study they measured the vitamin B. Was it, like in the first day after sprouting, like a few hours after the beginning of sprouting, or was it, 5, 6 days later? There's more chances that they measured the B vitamins, when it was less than 3 or 2 days of sprouting, because you still have lots of B vitamins that are not used yet by the plants. So my opinion about this study is that it might be that they measured the B vitamins in a very young sprout. Do sprouts have more minerals than seeds? So here, again, in blue you have the regular seeds, and in green you have the sprouts. So here it's again alfalfa seeds versus alfalfa sprouts. So we can see that there's more minerals in the seed compared to the sprout. That's true. Here it's about calcium, iron, and zinc. And yes, there's more minerals in the seeds. But does it mean that if you eat the seeds rather than the sprouts, will you get more minerals? Actually, no, because as we said in the beginning, the most important thing about sprouts is the enzymes and is the deactivation of phytic acid. If phytic acid is deactivated, you will have access to the minerals when you eat the seeds. So in the end, you get more minerals when you eat the sprouts compared to the seeds. But if you really just compare the seed and the sprouts outside of the body, yes, there are more minerals in the seeds compared to the sprouts. And here in these studies, it says that you have less potassium and calcium when germination starts, but it doesn't change anything with other minerals like magnesium and zinc. Here it says that in this one you have more mineral in sprouts, and here it says also the same, increasing minerals in sprouts, and moreover, sprouting decreases the level of phytic acid in seeds. Do sprouts have more proteins than seeds? So I won't read everything here. You can pause the slide if you want, but basically, yes, sprouts have more proteins than seeds. That's what these studies say. Not only they have more proteins, but of course with the enzymatic activity in the sprouts, the proteins are transformed into amino acids, and that makes these amino acids easier to absorb when we eat them. Here, so it's a study that compared the proteins in lentils, in 12 varieties of lentils. They found that, so here in white it's the normal lentils, and here with the dots it's the sprouted lentils. So you can see that all varieties of lentils have more proteins after germination. They have more proteins when they are sprouted compared to when they are not. So answer to this question, yes, sprouts have more proteins than seeds. Do sprouts have more lipids than seeds? Here again, most of the studies say yes, except this one. It says that it doesn't really change the first 12 hours, but after that, the lipid content in the flowers of germinated cereals decreases throughout the germination process of 48 hours. But the other ones say that basically, yes, there are more lipids. This one say depends when you measure it. Is it early in the germination process or is it later? But again, here's the same principle than we saw before. You can have more lipids, but the most important is that the lipids are transformed into essential fatty acids that are readily absorbable by the body when we eat the sprouts. Those sprouts have more carbs than seeds, so not really, but again, because of the enzymes, the different sugars will transform from starch. The starch in the seed is the food of the future plant. So the future plant will use this energy to grow. So basically, the starch changes and transforms into something else. The sugars in the starch are transformed into, here as they say, into structural carbohydrates: cellulose, hemicellulose, and xylose. Okay, that's cellulose. That's the fiber in the plant. So it's just a transformation of the sugar. It's just a different type of sugars. And here, this is interesting here. Increase of about 20% in starch digestibility in brown rice grains compared to the non-germinated grains. So it's very important to understand that, you won't have the same nutrients and the same digestibility depending when you measure, depending how long you have been germinating those seeds. If you soak your rice in water overnight, that starts the germination process. It's still not germinated. You still don't have the sprout, but it's the very beginning process of it. And that's when the enzymes start to work, to really get activated. So right in the beginning of the sprouting process, that's when you will have the most powerful enzymes and the most digestibility of the nutrients in the seed. And that's what it says here. If you eat your rice, in the beginning of the germination process, you still have starch. It's still not transformed into fiber, indigestible fibers, but it's still starch that you can digest, and it's actually more digestible if you soak it and if you eat the rice, in the beginning of the sprouting process. Now, we have been talking about seeds versus sprouts. Now we will talk about sprouts versus vegetables, the adult plant. Okay, so do sprouts have more nutrients compared to vegetables? So actually, I didn't find any studies about that. The studies I found were always the sprouts versus the seed. I never found sprouts versus vegetable. So I could not use studies to see that, but I used a database chronometer to measure the different nutrients. We will see that in a few moments. So, do sprouts have more vitamins compared to vegetables? Here we will talk about radish sprouts versus full grown radish. So, here we can see that for vitamin A and vitamin C, there's more vitamin A and vitamin C in sprouted radish, compared to the full grown radish. There's nothing here, at least on chronometer, there's nothing regarding vitamin D and vitamin E for neither one. And regarding vitamin K, there's more vitamin K in veggies compared to the sprouts. So here it's not all black and white. It depends what you look at, what vitamin you look at. Do sprouts have more vitamin B compared to veggies? Yes, obviously, yes, because as I said earlier, seeds have lots of vitamin Bs. The richest foods in vitamin B in the plant world, in the vegetable world, it's the seeds. So here it's quite obvious you have much more vitamin Bs in the sprouts. because the sprout is really like the transition between the seed and the vegetable, of course. So you still have part of all the nutrients you have in the seeds. Do sprouts have more vitamins compared to veggies? Here we compare alfalfa sprouts and salad, because I could not find in those databases, I could not find, full grown alfalfa. So yeah, it's alfalfa sprouts compared to salad. Uh, so regarding the vitamins, for some of them, yes, there's more vitamins in the sprouts, and for some other vitamins, there's more vitamins in green salad. So there's more vitamin B, vitamin B2, B3, and B5 in sprouts, but there's more vitamin B6 and B9 in green salad. Here, what about the other vitamins? Still alfalfa sprouts compared to salad. Alfalfa sprouts are in blue and the salad still in green. So here you can see that basically for the other vitamins, the salad has more vitamins than the sprouts. Do sprouts have more minerals compared to veggies? Yes, for most of them, yes, as you can see here, except for selenium where it's equal. That's what we find here. And for these other minerals here, so here we saw copper, that's iron, that's manganese, selenium, zinc. So yes, the sprouts have more of these compared to the full-grown veggie. And here is the same for calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. The only mineral where the mineral is in higher quantity in salad compared to here it's radish. So in full-grown radish compared to the sprout, it's in potassium. But yeah, basically regarding minerals, there's more minerals in the sprouts. And here we compare again alfalfa sprouts and salad. So here it depends, but yeah, usually there's more minerals in alfalfa sprouts compared to salad, except for iron. You have more iron, and also in manganese. For manganese, you have more manganese and iron in salad compared to the sprouts. And here, so regarding calcium, there's more in salad. There's a little more in magnesium. There's much more from potassium. And except for phosphorus, you have more phosphorus in the sprouts of alfalfa compared to green salad. Now, what about micronutrients between alfalfa sprouts and salad? You have more calories in the sprouts. You have more sugars in the salad. So basically here, I don't really believe the database, because as we said before, it's more a transformation of sugars. Here it's more structural carbohydrates, as we saw in the study. It's just a different type of sugar. Same for fiber. And for proteins, you have more proteins in the sprouts and more fat, of course, in the sprouts. So are sprouts the most nutrient-dense foods? Because that's what we hear all the time. Sprouts are a superfood, and lots of people think that if they are deficient in whatever vitamin or mineral, what should I do? And you will see people on Facebook or in forums tell this person to eat sprouts because they are so rich in nutrients. I don't know in the English world, but at least in France, that's what people say. Oh, I know I'm deficient in that vitamin. And you will see people tell this person, oh, you need to eat sprouts. That's where you will find the vitamin. So is it true? Are sprouts the most nutrient dense foods? So to me, the most nutrient dense food is liver. The other organs also, but liver especially. So here I compare liver to alfalfa sprouts. What about calories? There's much more calories in liver compared to sprouts. So if you want more energy, don't eat sprouts, eat liver. You can also eat sprouts, but I mean, liver is much more efficient. What about other macros? What about proteins, carbs, fats, and fiber? Of course, liver has much more of everything except for fiber, because of course there's no fiber in animal foods. But yes, there's way more proteins in liver compared to alfalfa sprouts. There's more sugars also in liver. Yes, actually, if you have ever eaten liver, you can always feel this sugary aftertaste. That's what I feel. But yeah, liver is quite high in sugar compared to other parts of the animal, and yeah, more fats also. Um, what about B vitamins? Are sprouts so rich in B vitamins? So here again, green is liver and blue is the alfalfa sprouts. So of course, the liver has way more B vitamins compared to sprouts. And here I've put the how many times it has more vitamins. So here it's almost twice um, the amount of vitamin B in liver compared to sprouts, 13 times in the amount of vitamin B2 in liver compared to sprouts, 39 times for vitamin B3, 34 times for B6, 3 times for B5, almost 15 times for B9. Folate, most people think folate is mostly in vegetables, but actually there's way more folate in liver compared to any type of sprout or vegetable. And here, regarding B12, of course, there's no B12 in any vegetables or sprout, but you have lots of B12 in liver. Here, 100 grams of liver brings more than 20 times the RDA in B12. Are sprouts the most nutrient food? Let's look at the other vitamins. Vitamin A, much more in liver, more in vitamin C. It can be surprising, but at least that's what I found. More vitamin D, of course. There's no vitamin D in sprouts. More vitamin E also in liver. What about minerals? There's more phosphorus, potassium, selenium, and zinc, and also in iron and copper. Much more of these minerals in liver compared to sprouts. The only minerals that are higher in sprouts compared to liver are calcium, magnesium, and that's it. Calcium and magnesium. So, what is the conclusion? Are sprouts the most nutrient dense food ever on earth? No, it's liver. Liver and other animal foods are much higher in most of all the nutrients compared to plant foods. That is so obvious. Um, you know, you can look in different studies or in different databases. There's no question that eating animal foods will always bring much more nutrients than vegetables. Now, the enzymes. Enzymes are what really make sprouts special. As we have seen until now, sprouts are not so interesting regarding all nutrients, regarding energy, but they are very interesting regarding enzymes. I won't read everything here, so you can pause on this slide if you want more info. But enzymes make sprouts special because it's the richest food in enzymes from all the foods. Actually, I didn't find any data regarding animal foods and enzymes. Of course, if you don't cook the animal foods, they will have more enzymes than if you cook them. But basically, in many studies, they found that sprouted seeds are very rich in enzymes. Especially here in this study, they studied leek sprouts, red clover, and broccoli sprouts. And here they found that the highest activity of sprout peptidase can be obtained after 3 days of germination, and the enzymes in sprouted leek seeds are more powerful than those in papaya on gelatin. Everybody knows about the power of papaya enzymes, but here they found that sprouted leeks are even more powerful for some things like gelatin compared to papaya. So yeah, sprouted leek seeds are really interesting for enzymes. Again, I won't read everything, so you can read all the details in these different studies here. But here it's interesting. Here it says that you won't have the same amount of enzymes depending for how long you have been sprouting your seeds. That's what we said before. But here they said the enzyme activity was higher until the 5th day of germination. So if you want the most enzymes, don't let your seeds sprout too long. I would not let it sprout more than 6 or 7 days. And here, what is also very interesting, it's the DAO enzymes in legume sprouts. So if you have histamine intolerance, you might have heard about it. You can buy DAO supplements, either made from kidneys, pork or beef kidneys, usually pork kidneys, or you can get DAO supplements from sprouted legumes. So here it's a study about that, and they found that sprouts of edible legumes showed an in vitro histamine degrading capacity that was very high. The germination of legume seeds for 6 days in darkness provided the maximum DAO activity. I talk about that in my histamine intolerance video. I will put the link under this video. Here in this study, they were testing alfalfa sprouts, broad bean sprouts, common bean sprouts, lentil sprouts, and white lupin sprouts. Among them, the highest enzymatic activity was detected in the dry seeds of lentils. And in my histamine intolerance video, I talk about the peas, sprouted peas, very rich in DAO also. Now, are meals enriched with sprouts more digestible? Yes. Again, I let you pause if you want more details, but yes, for sure, because the enzymes in the sprout will not only be used for the development of the plant, but there's more enzymes than what the plant needs to grow from the seed. So the extra enzymes will help you digest your meal. If you eat your sprouts with a meal, it will help you digest the meal. So it's very, very interesting. What are the other benefits of sprouts? So again, for me, the number one benefit of eating sprouts is for the enzymes. That's really clear and obvious. If you have any digestive issues, if you feel that you have trouble digesting what you eat, if you see undigested food particles in your stool, either you buy enzyme supplements, or you can sprout seeds and eat the sprouts. It will help you digest what you eat if you eat your sprouts together with your meal, especially if you eat cooked food. If you eat everything raw, like in the primal diet, you don't need to worry about enzymes because you have plenty of enzymes in your diet, as long as everything is raw. Because when you start cooking, very early in the cooking process, you will lose the enzymes. Enzymes are very fragile. So yeah, if you have issues digesting anything, my number one recommendation is to eat raw foods mainly, except for vegetables. If you have a very sensitive gut, if you have constipation and an irritated gut, it's better to cook your vegetables because the fiber might be too harsh for you if you have a sensitive gut. If you don't have a sensitive gut, no worries, you can eat everything raw, your vegetables, your meat, and everything else. Of course, some foods are not edible if they are not cooked, like the grains or the legumes, of course, so you never want to eat these raw. But yeah, anyway, if you have a raw food diet like the primal diet, no problem, you have all the enzymes you need. If you eat a normal diet like everybody, where it's mostly cooked, my advice is that for anyone who eats mostly cooked food, to always add some sprouted seeds in your meals to help you digest your meals. So, what are the other benefits of sprouts apart from the enzymes? It's because of the antioxidant capacity that increases during the germination process. So more antioxidants, more GABA. It's very interesting. If you eat sprouted rice, it's rich in GABA. Maybe you have heard of GABA. We hear about GABA more and more, but yeah, GABA is a regulator of anxiety, and many people take GABA supplements. So instead of taking GABA supplements, you can just sprout rice and eat sprouted rice. Here again in this study, they talk about GABA. Increased bioavailability of nutrients such as carbohydrates and proteins in sprouts, of course. Increased fiber levels. That's if you want more fiber in your diet, but I actually think too many people eat too much fiber and then they get lots of issues. They get constipation, they have an irritated bowel. So it's not always a good idea to have more fiber in your diet. But anyway, if you are looking to get more fiber, of course, if you eat sprouts, you will have more fiber compared to if you eat the seeds. It's just not the same type of fiber, because when you eat seeds, you also have fiber, but that are much more harsh than the ones in the sprouts. And if you want to gain weight, again, that's because sprouts are rich in enzymes. And so if you eat your sprouts with your meals together with other foods, you will absorb much more nutrients and much more energy from these other foods, thanks to the enzymes in the sprouts. Yeah, and again, as we saw before, the leak enzymes are the most powerful to digest proteins. So if you have any issue digesting proteins, you can get leek seeds and sprout them and eat them with your meals rich in proteins. And here I wanted to show that our ancestors, if you read the book of Weston Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, we can see that our ancestors never ate seeds in their raw form like that without any process. They always soaked, fermented, and cooked the seeds. That's what we saw here. I won't read everything. You can pause on this slide if you want, but here I have taken some extracts from my other videos. These are my videos about anti-nutrients. I have a general video about anti-nutrients. I have a video about lectins, another video about phytic acid. And at the end of these videos, I talk about that, about how the traditional cultures ate their seeds and grains and legumes. So yeah, again, if we use the wisdom of our ancestors, they would never eat the seeds like that. They would always soak them. That begins the sprouting process. They would ferment them, even more enzymes if you do that, and then they would cook them. Of course, if you cook them, you don't have enzymes anymore, but at least by soaking and fermenting the grains that you will eat, the grains are very easy to digest afterwards, even if you cook them, because all the breaking down of macronutrients have been done, with the soaking, sprouting, and fermenting. But anyway, that's what I would recommend to do, to follow what our ancestors did. So in conclusion of this video, do you want to eat sprouts to get more nutrients from the seeds? My answer is no. Obviously, that's what we saw. But do you want to add sprouts to your meals to get more nutrients from the meals? Yes, obviously, yes, because of the enzymes. So this is really what I want to emphasize in this video. Sprouts are very interesting only for the enzymes, not so much for the other nutrients. But yeah, very rich in enzymes. It will help you digest your food, and it will make the nutrients in the other foods in your meal more bioavailable and easier to digest for you. That's it for today. If you want my course to heal your gut, I put the link of my course on how to heal your gut naturally. The link is under this video in the description box. I see you in the next video. Bye bye.